Hello, welcome to another Bennessy Draws. I'm very sorry for the lateness tonight. I was first off late putting the pencils together and kind of got lost in putting these together, and then realized it was a little bit close to 9, and then I pressed the button to go live, and just now realized I wasn't live. So we'll start again. Welcome to the stream tonight. As I've been saying the last few weeks, we're going to change up the stream a little bit. We're going to have a week of the odds, a week of a pinup, a week of the odds, a week of the pinup. But as I discussed on the odds pod last night with Dave, if you're not on the odds pod, check us out. We're the odds pods on pretty much all the socials: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and on all the other ones. And what we have discussed today is that I would start actually drawing the cover for issue 1. So I'll start into it tonight. I won't finish this in 2 hours. That would be crazy. It would be amazing if I could do a cover in 2 hours and pretty much start to finish. So what I'll do is the next stream will be me finishing this cover. And as I said on the Odds Pod last night as well, next week will be a dark week on the Odds Pod. It'll also be a dark week for Bennessy Draws. I'll amend the timetable on Twitch shortly after all this. So no one tunes in next week expecting to see me. I won't be here next week, but it'll be the following week. And that's kind of what I wanted to draw a cover this week because, well, it's somewhere in the middle of both the pinup and some of the odds, right? Covers are some of the most fun things to do as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to this. It's a change in the brief of what I thought I would go out and do, but having done the Godfell covers with Vault, I kind of noticed that you can't completely depend on kind of a graphic image. You kind of want something a little bit more that says a little bit more about the book. And I've been enjoying these kind of montage or collage things I've been drawing recently. I did one of Godfell, print for Godfell on the Bennessy store shortly. I think it was just before the last issue, or it was a trade of Godfell that came out. And you can find that up on the Bennessy store. You can find a bunch of other prints. You can find other comics, prints, etc. There's people who put in orders for prints last week, and they'll be going out tomorrow. Pardon the lateness there. Work kind of got up and in the way, and because I'm away next week, I had to get some stuff out of the way to make sure I could go away next week with work. So they'll be a little later. Hopefully they'll arrive Friday. But hopefully this will arrive this week too. So that shouldn't be too bad. There's also a new t-shirt design about to go up on the Bennessy store. You can also find that under the merch banner on Bennessy.com. Funny t-shirts, water bottles, aprons, jumpers, hoodies, you name it. Or there's a bunch of Bennessy apparel you can kind of pick up there. And I think we'll get into this. So you can kind of see here my layout. It's pretty rough because again, I just did this in the last 40 minutes. I really haven't had enough time. So I really want to pencil this a bit further before I commit to any inks because I could change my mind several times. There's certain little bits of detail I'd have liked to have figured out before I go to inks because it could just lead to mistakes. But one thing you can kind of see is I'm leaving plenty of negative space around our characters, our shapes, just so there's plenty of room for a colorist to put down some big colors that hopefully catch an eye, and then hopefully the art itself, along with the colorist Vittorio Stone, legend, will hopefully hold your attention after catching it. And then you go buy the issue, and then me and Dave get rich and famous, and we retire and spend our days on the beach. Not bad, right? That's the plan. So yeah, we'll get into this. You can see the rule of thirds. As I swear by it, it's the best thing to do, especially when you're late streaming like this. It keeps you honest. Make sure you're on the straight and narrow. You can't get it too wrong. And because we're working digitally, we can kind of play with it a little bit too. I'm going to do that first, again, because I was just doing this in the last 40 minutes. And setup is always the same. I have my model sheets here, a laptop for reference here, and you guys. So there we go. As always, comment section is live. Any questions about technique, whatever you'd like, anything at all, hit the comment section and spot it. I'll get back to you. And let's get into this, will we? So I'm drawing characters here. You guys have seen me draw just a couple of weeks ago. Sean and Buck, and a big bear. Bear plays a big part in that first issue, and a little bit of the second as well, I think. And then our hero Finn in the front and center, and the phone, because well, the influence hurt people in all kinds of different ways, and it's a big part of our story. But as always with these things, I do like to play around a little bit with tilting things, where I have my eyes settle on the upper third. I kind of prefer it like this. I kind of like that negative space on the left hand side. I can actually get rid of this border, and because I'll only be drawing to the blue lines. That's where our safety is. Everything will stay in there. I think I want the phone fully in. I'll have the bear go to the edge, and I'll have Buck's hand. Maybe no, I'll have Buck's hand go there. That's perfect. And I will get into penciling this a little further. I think I want it to be a little smaller. Just to get the bear in. No, I don't have it up. There we go. Put it there. Always remembering that right up here in our upper third, that's where the odds logo, the title is going to be. So I want to leave some room for that. I don't want that to be or end up blocking out some eyes belonging to the bear, that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. Pretty happy with that. And again, everything is kind of referenced here to my right. So I have cleavers, I have phones, I have crossbows and guns, backpacks, even all that kind of stuff. It's all there. Just so I think the more I can ground my drawing in something that's real and how it should look, that I find out that it just sort of works better. My art itself seems to have a bit more tangibility to it, believability to it, and if I can keep people part in the illusion, as I keep saying, then all the better they'll continue with the story. If I give them a reason to leave the illusion by drawing something poorly or drawing something in such a fashion that that's just not how it would look, you can lose them and you might not get them back. So, with all that said, I'm changing my mind. I'm gonna have the phone creep into the ends there and leave this area here all black and in shadow. And we're good to go. We're going to start penciling. So this is pretty rough. I know there's some artists that would go straight to inks from this. I'm not one of those artists. Just saying it plainly. I like to have mine a bit more thought out. I kind of just went with big broad shapes here, and I've been drawing these characters for a while now, so I kind of know their basic shapes from various angles, and I will jot them down pretty quickly on something like this, and then I'll have to go and refine them before I even think about going to inks. But yes, let's get into this. I'm going to. Do I tackle the bear first? I will not. I will. I'll tackle the bear first. I'm going to work my way down the page, I think. Make sure I still have my bear reference. Let's click over here. And I think I don't have it up there anymore, so I have to look over here. And all I was searching was angry grizzly bear. And it's like, just to give me a more of a consistent reference for how I'm going to move the bear's mouth. If I just do it on top of my head, it just looks like this. but it's kind of only halfway there. I kind of want to find out where the bear's muzzle really curls, and how far it can open up and how far I can push it, that kind of stuff. So it's on that page. It's a whole bunch of images down. There's a few I'm going to refer to, not just any one. And actually, that one's quite close to the sketch I have. I'm going to go with that one. There we go. Something is that? Hmm. Something that looks a little bit AI-ish. And if it's AI, there could be a few wobbly bits in there. And I don't want to refer to something that's not completely real because it will inform the way I draw it, and I could draw something incorrectly. I just want to reference real life objects and real life people all the time. Okay, there we go. I thought that one instead. And that's just a preference. I'm sure there's plenty of other things, and I'm sure AI can give people lots of starting points and things, and I agree with all that. But when it comes to actually having something to reference, uh, I like to have the real thing, and that's probably more so because, as I said here in the stream before, I was a massive, massive uh, Humberto Ramos fan. So much so I had to put all this stuff away for like a year and kind of put some effort into figuring out my style as opposed to some kind of watered down version of his. And I did that by just referencing from life all the time. So I kind of like to do that now. I guess that's my style now, referencing from life are a big part of what I do. And I don't really want to go back because I kind of feel like referencing AI is like referencing other artists, and all I'm really doing is taking from their journey and using the information that they've applied to their style over the years, and it just doesn't feel like I'm doing the right kind of work for my designs. Um, One thing I'm noticing is from my quick sketch here is immediately the bear's muzzle is not like a dog's, it's quite furry, and its lips really can project out from its maw. So that's something I would have got wrong completely. Um, Not having the correct reference. I think there's a massive benefit um to really kind of pushing past the point of reality as well. You've probably heard me mention squat and stretch on the show quite a lot. Like, and I do like to push those elements as much as I possibly can without distracting people from what I want them to see, which is something you have to think about when you do that. You can you can push it too far sometimes, but you're better off pushing it too far than not pushing it enough, in my humble opinion. If you're watching the show and you're a big comic book fan, it's new comic book day. What did you guys get? Anything cool? So it's quite furry. Doesn't quite go up as much as I had thought. For some reason, I'm drawing unsymmetrical teeth. So in this path, I'm just going to make sure that everything is there. Everything is anatomically correct, and informed enough for me to go and then like ink without having to think too much about changing something or adhering to perspective or hearing that. I've figured it all out in the pencils, and I can just kind of enjoy and lose myself in the inking phase. Um, I'm also going to lose myself in a little bit of music here. There's some background music on this platform that I quite like, and I'm going to throw some of it on. Here we go. So that shouldn't be so loud difficult to hear me, but if it is, just let me know in the comments and I'll turn it down. Um, But yeah, here we go. So I like to kind of block out my teeth in kind of shapes, and draw in the little bits in the middle. Creatures, monsters like this bear I'm gonna draw. I like leaving gaps between the teeth. Sometimes these animals lose them, and it's kind of nice just to break up some of the shape in the mouth a bit as well. And always be thinking about the volume and the shape and how things move. Like, this wouldn't just be another kind of front view of the teeth. You're kind of looking down on them, so you got to make sure that you draw through the shapes to make sure that you're correctly doing that. And they don't have to be perfectly symmetrical. Like, kind of a weird screwy tooth can be just as cool to throw in there as well. And I really thought in my rough sketch here that I really pushed that tongue and how far I could twist and pull and push it. And I'm looking at this bear now, and the tongue is even crazier. So yeah, sometimes real life is stranger than fiction. So right here are the gums and the lip. So you want to leave some room for these guys. And the bear's lip isn't as furry as its upper lip. So we'll see more of this black line, this kind of trim that goes around. And it actually goes into the chin here a bit as well. Again, something I would have got wrong had I not had the right reference at hand. And just not afraid to throw down some lines, some shapes in this. I might more or less have the composition figured out, but I might not have all the anatomy and everything figured out. It's still important at this stage not to freeze up and get too tight. You could do yourself a disservice and kind of miss an opportunity to really make a shape or a design or an emotion or an action hit home all the more. Okay, I'm gonna invert that. And remember that animator I was talking about who had these really energetic lines when a character he was drawing was being quite energetic? Like, this is a big, growling, angry looking bear, so no need to really massage and do very, very slow lines. Use your shoulder, full arc, and get it quite energetic. You'll end up with very big, strong lines, and again, as we keep saying here, you get marks for being brave with your work. So the more you can really delve into this big snarl, I think the better the snarl is going to come across. If you ever seen Brother Bear, there's this great segment at the start, a sequence at the start, with a bear, and they've drawn this really scary looking mother bear, and I can't not think of it when I'm drawing this girl, I should say. Excuse me. I want these outside lines kind of I want them all joining, and then inside I will break them up a little bit. Breaking them up can allow for a bit more action and movement, weight to be expressed. When you fill it, you kind of lose some of that sometimes, but it will allow you to create a better silhouette. So I'm half thinking about putting in a black outline around these guys. I think I will. I think I'll avoid doing that because I think something like a yellow or a white or a red maybe might be more eye-catching, and that's kind of what covers are all about. There's 0 point here in just trying to work on a nice illustration. That's only part of the job here. The other part of the job is to make sure that our illustration stands out on a shelf that will feature 40 other comic books, 40 different kind of covers, and you want yours to be the one that catches everyone's eye, where they go pick up your book and not someone else's. And there's a trick to that, and the trick is to kind of manage your focal points. If you can have large amounts of negative space, it gives you an opportunity to create bigger focal points for people to see. And like, again, as I said before, if the art is engaging enough, you can go pick it up, or they will go pick it up. And when they open the inside work, hopefully they go to the counter and actually buy the thing. And, that's the goal. You're competing against so many other good quality books. You want to take all the tricks you can out of the bag to try and make sure that yours is the book that these guys want, that they stick with. Just realizing that shape's a little bit off. There's asymmetrical and then there's just wrong, and that was verging on the wrong. And then I'm just going to make quick mark making of like the fur and the direction that it's going in, all drawn from the shoulder. I still want that energy. For now, the lines aren't closed. I'm just trying to figure out the energy and the shape. Again, always referring to the reference material to make sure that I'm not just drawing a really bad bear. I'm drawing an informed bear, something that looks like a bear. And if people are familiar with bears, when they see the cover, they won't go, that guy didn't know what he was doing. Always helps. Like I used to spend quite a lot of time in Dublin Zoo as well, just trying to learn animal shapes, gestures. Find that there's very similar gestures in some animals as there is humans, and kind of trying to find where you can make little observations that you can reuse going forward for yourself. When you're drawing lemurs, that kind of stuff, or rhinos, and what kind of mark making you make for a big heavy animal versus the small little light guys. And yeah, really fun stuff too. I used to love it. Any opportunity I had, I was in Dublin Zoo or I was in the Jarvis Centre in Dublin drawing people or animals. Yeah. Quite like that bear, actually. You know, we're going to draw Buck, bad guy Buck. Big bad Buck. I love drawing this guy. He's just the best. He's just awesome. This big scary man child. And it's funny because I'm fitting this book in around, paid work and stuff, because, this thing doesn't pay a page rate. Like some of the drawings that I've done have been done quite some time ago, and the little things I do with Buck now and some of the other characters now versus what I did when I first made a model sheet of them, very different. Again, this isn't like a side profile of him. He's slightly 3/4. So remember that when you're drawing in some shapes. I obviously didn't when I was drawing in this part. There should be like kind of a jawline there from the ear. I didn't have in my rough. And I do tend to go up and down, left and right, depending on what I'm referring, what part of his design to another part, to make sure everything is where it needs to be. See, I defaulted in my rough sketch where I draw on locks. Don't really give this guy shaved locks though. That would look better there. And he's got big ears, massive ears. Shout out to Adam Steers, by the way. He got an Abe Sapien sketch from me at Celticon a few weeks ago, and his dad sent me a picture of it up on his art wall with all his art, and then informs me that it's pride of place. All his stuff up there, so to be featured among some of his work is a big deal. So huge thanks, Adam. I posted up my picture alongside some of his stuff, and you can see his Mr. Piggle, his robot pig, which is awesome. But yeah, there's a future artist on the horizon there. Keep drawing at him. It's pretty cool. Not that Adam's up at this hour watching the stream, and I don't know, is this material that he could watch? I don't know. It's not really, it's okay, I can leave that there. Just trying something there, didn't really like it. And as I said before, on a lot of my characters, I tried to give them a very recognizable silhouette, so you know who's who almost straight away. And in the odds, I also did that like with a kind of a graphic advantage, or a graphic element, I should probably say, not an advantage. And hooking and drawing is hard, folks. And on these, there's a kind of a spot black almost on all the characters in the odds, and it's in a different place on all of them, so it's easy, hopefully, at first glance, to identify exactly who's who, what's going on, and do I need to be terrified of that guy? Is that guy Buck? Is that guy Finn? You want to know straight away. Arguably, be pretty scary of Finn too. Pretty scared of Finn too, I should say. And Buck's clothes, they're pretty loose, very worn, disgusting. There's stains on them. So just think about that kind of stuff when you're drawing your characters too. There's so many ways to express who your character is, what they're about, than just drawing their face and rendering whatever their emotion that they're feeling. You can kind of get this across by their surroundings, their clothes, how they hold themselves. All of that needs to be taken into account. Always feel like I'm doing something right when there's spam stuff coming in telling me you go to these guys for more viewers or go to this guy to stream on this platform. Thanks, but no. Where did I draw the thumb? The wrong way. There we go. There we go. Should go down. And always adhering to the reference. It's not a very well kept cleaver. Little chips taken out of it. And it wouldn't be me if there was an opportunity to put in some blood and I didn't do it. That should be lower. It's the right shape, but it should be lower. Right there. Don't know why I do that, but sometimes I'm thinking about the shape, but sometimes not so much where it's going. And another reason why I like to do another path at this point, just to make sure that I have everything going the right way. There's nothing worse than not double checking the work and spotting a very easy thing to fix at too late a stage. Don't do it to yourself. Zero crack. Again, I've drawn so many hands, I kind of know the basic shape that I'm going for here. So I'm just going to rough it out because a lot of that's going to be in shadow. It's more or less just going to be an outline. One kind of fun thing to play with all your work is to see how much of something you really need to draw, rather than draw the whole thing. There's some kind of sick satisfaction I get from figuring out a line could be left out, but everyone still knows the rest of the volume, the shape, the things that I'm trying to inform them of. A lot of fun, and I do think I'm not the only one who enjoys that. I think every graphic artist in the right mind kind of wants to find those shapes sometimes. They're just cool, you know. I think they're pretty appealing to the audience too. I'm just double checking that now. That looks about right. I think it is a bit right, but this is looking a little off to me. I'm going to lower that. And initially, I did have his sleeve kind of down, but I'm actually going to roll it up. I usually do. I don't know any point in changing that for the cover here. Maybe there. And again, I almost found myself drawing flat 2D stuff there and not drawing in the volumes. Always drawing the volumes. There we go. That's looking more like it. Okay, so there's Buck. Now we'll draw Sean. Take up the Sean model sheet. Quick save, because crashes do happen. I like to give Sean big eyes. Something I decided on really early. I can't remember why. I think there was a whole set of very subtle expressions I kind of realized early on this character needs to express. So kind of thick eyebrows and big eyes was something I decided would really help me achieve that. Yeah, I've lost that moment of concentration that I had in my rough. Let's go back and try that again. Just kind of dead behind the eyes. But she does mean business. Don't want that to tangent. I want to bring it in just underneath the bottom lip. You can see that out a bit more to help avoid the tangent. That's okay to do. That would be the shape of the chin. Always making sure we're drawing around the volumes. It should stick out a bit more. No, it looks a bit ridiculous. And as I said the last time I was drawing Sean, the model sheet's important because she is slightly asymmetric, well, not slightly, she's very asymmetrical in her design, where her zip falls on her jacket, where there's wear and tear shown on her hat. It all depends on what side she's facing. And without it, you might decide to go, you know what, I like drawing that side more than this side, even if I'm not drawing that side that this thing happens on. And I think having a model sheet, again, keeps you kind of on the straight and narrow. Wasn't going to draw in the backpack, but it kind of makes sense to put it in there. Gives me a few lines to lead our eye down from Sean back into Finn. I wish when I was designing her that I did a print screen or something of the coat she wears, because the night I kind of settled on her design, I was just working from a fashion website, and I have been unable to find that jacket again ever since. So I'm really banking hard on my model sheet for that jacket there. I really wish I had thought ahead a bit more. Ever since, I keep a little wardrobe folder for each character, just so I can't get too lost again. got this weird kind of crossbow. Somewhere between a modern thing and a medieval thing. The kind of thinking behind it was, well, she was always quite good at them. But she's kind of salvaged this because it's post-apocalyptic, right? You're kind of trying to find out a lot of stuff you wouldn't have known previously for yourself now, and she's kind of, in my head, she's kind of kitted out this old crossbow to be something of a kind of a in between old and new. More Meridia, I guess, than someone like Carmen Haynes or something. Meridia, even, sorry, not Meridia. The girl from Brave. I don't mind drawing two lines like this at this age as well, just to make sure that things are matching up the right way. You'll thank yourself later when you go to inks and you're not like, is that right? Is that wrong? Did I do that or incorrect? You'll know for sure you did. Do all the work now so it's easy later. And I really want that cheek to feel like it's resting on the bow, so that's why it's kind of squashed and the mouth's a bit pushed to the side. If you ever look at any Disney shows, if you ever get a chance to check out Glenn Keane's work, you can see he's big on giving his characters accents, how they move their mouth, how they hit certain words and letters and sounds. And that's worth thinking about when you're drawing your characters, even for a comic. But even knowing that, like, how much the bottom jaw can move and twist and pull can really lend some more squash and stretch to your designs, and more energy, and a bit more fun for you to play with as well. When it comes to inking, I will not be doing this freehand. That's going to be more of a ruler gig. Okay, so we're not going to see this hand almost at all. Pity, thought I nailed that drawing. Oh well. That's how it goes sometimes. You can't get married to these things. Her head would cast a shadow. We don't want it to obscure the definition between her and the bear, so we make sure we leave a little line here between the bear and her. Do a little bit of jumper on her sleeve, and the jacket. That's her. Now we're drawing Finn, the hero, right? That's why I tackled the bear first. I wanted to be warmed up more before I got to this guy. Love drawing this guy. And it's hard not to think of the Hulk theme song, The Lonely Man, and then drawing him in this one. I'll show you now. Look at this picture of him walking with his bag, the hair as well, I guess, and not think of the theme song from the old Hulk TV show. It just is, right? Ah. Alright, so it's funny, initially, way back in the day when I was first working on this guy, he was a big smoker because I wanted to draw someone smoking. And in all the model sheets, he's smoking, and now he doesn't smoke anymore. So like, it just didn't work for the character. It made no sense for him to really be doing it. So we had to scrap that. And again, so long as things are always for the benefit of the story, you gotta make the decision for the story over any aesthetics or any personal wishes to do anything. I think so. I mean, just want to draw a good story more than I want to draw someone smoking. Really enjoying watching Acolyte. I kind of starting to feel like I might be the only one enjoying watching Acolyte. Yeah, I'm digging it. I haven't seen today's episode yet. I'm looking forward to checking that out now later on. Might do an Acolyte pin-up in a few weeks. Maybe for the finale. Tip for when you're drawing hair, realize that all the hair has to start from the front, work their way back. But also it makes sense to kind of block out shapes. You don't want to draw every individual strand. It looks weird, plus you'd be there all day. Think about silhouettes. And like we talked about with Buck and the things you can draw around your characters that can inform people about your character. Like, what does this windswept kind of hair or this kind of shape of hair say about this guy or that woman or whoever? Like, if you look at Nathan Gooden's work on Barbaric, you can see that his Barbarian Owen, love Owen by the way, it's awesome. He has like this crazy shape. This is a massive shape of hair, and almost in every panel, there's almost more hair on Owen's head than there is Owen. And it's pure just focusing on shapes and silhouettes, and it's really clever. But you don't see Nate Gooden drawing every single strand of hair. You see him kind of doing similar stuff that we did on the bear, drawing from the shoulder, energetic lines. It's cool. It's high on appeal, and it's kind of something you want. You want people to be enjoying looking at your characters, reading about your characters, all that kind of stuff. And it just goes to show that if you're trying to find out what lines you don't need to draw in your designs, like we talked about earlier, like hair shapes, is one of those things you can learn to play with. I kind of feel like sometimes there's a bit of unlearning you have to do having learned a thing, because you might do something younger when you just kind of figuring all this stuff out or drawing just for the sheer fun of it. And it might not be the most informed thing to do. It might even be incorrect, but there might be a really nice aesthetic to it. And somewhere in the beginnings of it is that usual favoring of a shape or an energy, that kind of thing. And I think if you can apply what you've been taught to be the correct way to do these things, then you can get something really kind of unique there. Probably something that's going to be very much something people refer to as being your style, something only you do. That's a huge benefit. So watch out for those kind of moments where you can kind of just make something very much yours and not a watered down version of some artist that you like. We're doing great numbers again tonight. Thanks again for tuning in. I often worry about the odds because I love drawing it, but it's not like everyone's very familiar with it. So I often wonder what kind of a crowd we're going to get. And you guys haven't disappointed. Thank you very much. It's really cool. It's quite reassuring. I will absolutely, definitely keep doing the odds on the stream. That said, if there is a character you'd like to see me tackle for one of the pinup nights, like I did for the Panelides lads, I did Shadow Man last week, I did Agent Venom, not the week before that, but the week before that. And yeah, that was cool. Enjoy doing that. If you have one, let me know. I will bump it up top of the list. See how I drew that kind of straight across when it really should have been around the thigh? I'm just going to draw this leg through the gun for the moment, as I don't have the gun reference page up. This was the graphic element on Finn's silhouette. It's his pants. Throw in a lot of black on the pants. On Sean, it's her leather jacket, and on Buck, it's his baseball shirt. That's what I call it, right? Again, I've drawn so many boots. Sometimes I can draw the outline and kind of fill in the shapes for myself as I go along. And if I've done something wrong with the outline, at this point I just draw over it, make sure I get it right for inks. But we're an hour in now, and I might even start inking tonight, which will be good. But even on something like this with no background, you can see how long it takes to just plan and make sure everything is where you need it to be. I always do that. Backpack comes out around here. And remember what I keep saying about hands. They're not these big flat things with straight digits that come out at straight angles. Your hand is made for grabbing things. It bends, goes straight, goes the other way. It takes all kinds of shapes. Don't do that really rookie thing where you just draw it straight across. It looks weird. You'll know it looks weird, but sometimes you won't know why. I guarantee you now you know why. You haven't had the fingers move around the hand properly. Again, see, I'm always drawing around the shapes. Make sure everything's going the correct way. There's actually a pocket on the side of these combats. He's kind of wearing workman's pants. I don't know why I decided to give them to him. I think it was kind of I was looking for things that people might scavenge come the end of the world. This guy got into a Woodies or somewhere and managed to find a pair of workman's pants. Are they Tyler's pants? It could be Tyler. I think there's like stuff in the pockets. You're down on the floor the whole time doing tiles, that kind of stuff. To protect your knees. I don't know what they're called. And I won't Google it this very second. I'm forever shooting reference of myself walking and just get these poses right. I often find that like you can make that lead leg with the toes up before it hits that point of contact look really hammy, really weird sometimes if you don't get it right. And it can kind of take away from your whole drawing, just ruin it. Another reason to spend a bit of effort getting the right reference. Okay. Get my rifle reference. This is just your kind of standard hunting rifle. He's not got anything very fancy here. He's not a very fancy Dan. He's just a dude trying to survive. So there's a stock. He's going to grab it a little bit before the trigger. Goes in that direction. Stock starts about here then. Actually, it'll go in front of Sean. He's in front of Sean. He won't tuck it under Sean, so that would have been a mistake. We'll go more like that. For something like this, I'll get the ruler out just to make it a bit easier. I don't want it all wobbly looking. Be nice if I picked the right color. There we go. That's better. Let's go again. Okay. Sights. I'm not going to give him a scope. I don't think he's fancy enough for a scope. This actually goes the other way, like that. He holds that bit. Trigger is there. More the body of the gun there. That comes up around here. Something like that. There we go. I'm not going to put in the not coming. Strap. There you go. And for the phone, I will break out the perspective tool. It's just a simple 1 point. Let me get this. Let's save everything first. Always a clever thing to do, because the last few times I've been streaming and using the perspective tool, it just crashes. So I'm going to try and not have that happen now. I'm trying to avoid that. I don't want to lose any work. It was you should have actually been 2 points. What am I doing? What was I thinking? Let's go back here first. Put in those lines. And go back over here and try and match them up as best I can. Oh, that's all right. Inverter. Close. Close. Yeah, that's close enough for me on that one. And then we go over here. Okay. Turn that off for a second, go back up here and get this just nailed down a bit more. I will definitely only be streaming for the 2 hours tonight. I know the last few weeks I went a little over because I was pretty keen on finishing what I was doing. But considering this is going to be a cover, it's going to take longer than 2 hours. So I'm just going to give it the time that it needs. Okay. Somewhere around here is that guy. Okay, and just because I'll need the grid, the reference when I'm going to draw the skull on the phone. Just drawing a little grid there for myself. I can now get rid of that one. I can now turn that off and I can save this. And I'm pretty happy with how that's penciled. Let's give it a look. I like the bear. I like Buck. I like Sean. I might edit a little bit around the face and I go to draw it. I like Finn. I might fix the pants a bit around the hips. I like the phone. And yeah. Victory swig of coffee. And we'll go again here. Still thinking about filling in that area around the bear, all that negative space. I'm gonna fight the urge. I'm gonna not do it. I'm gonna leave that to Vittorio to throw some of those cool colors, catch eyes, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that to him. He'll nail that. Okay. Pencils. Yeah, this looks better. Sometimes what I like to do is have the pocket on the pants kind of stick out a bit, just to kind of give it a bit more push and squash and stretch again, I guess. Oh yeah, and I kind of like sometimes to have the so first off, his belt is missing. I better put that in. Sometimes when I'm drawing Finn, depending on what he's doing, he's kind of calm here, so I don't need to do it. But if he's been running, climbing, or something, I like to have his shirt kind of stick out from underneath the gilet. Okay. Yeah, very happy with that. He's kind of montage things were something I really didn't like before, but again, since that time on Godfell, I have enjoyed working on them, and I do see the benefit to them. Let's get into this bear then, I think. Inks. Yeah. Capitals. Yeah, better. Alright. Get into this bear. $7.1. There we go. Okay, where's my bear reference again? I know it's mostly figured out, but just in case I decide to do something, or there could be some kind of direction the fur moves that will inform my brush strokes. Again, still drawing from the shoulder, and not looking to just fill in the area to make it a spot black. It's okay if this is a bit sketchy and not every area is filled in. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my computer just started to sound like the Millennium Falcon taking off. So hopefully it doesn't crash. Fingers and toes crossed. It's a big noise. And I've always kind of said it, you might get some great energy in your pencils. And then you go to inks and that energy kind of disappears. But the inks also allow you to capture a different kind of energy. Something else can kind of come to life in the inks that you don't get in pencils. So never really feel like, I don't want to ink, I keep losing this and this, and why can't inks deliver this when my pencils can do this for me? You will find that you'll get quite a lot out of your inks if you're willing to give them the time. It was something I used to be pretty scared and didn't want to do. It's something I just love doing now. Not absolutely too worried about line weights at this point, but still thinking about them. I always do a line weight sweep at the end, and that kind of informs me if I need to edit something on at the end, that kind of stuff, as opposed to constantly stopping and starting my workflow, trying to figure out 3 or 4 things all at the same time. It's much easier to come back to that, I think. It'll be better like that. I think it was too much of a gap there for the nose. Yeah, that's better. Since the nose is kind of wet and shiny, this is something that I'll try and fill in as opposed to leave kind of sketchy. Like again, not really too worried about textures and things at this point, but still thinking about them. And remember that top lip hairier than the bottom lip. And these things don't need to be symmetrical. There wouldn't be the same triangle of gum going across the mouth. You can and the same space between teeth even. Don't get too particular with that kind of stuff. There's no need. It doesn't help you in any way. Like those lines on the teeth, didn't need those. This is one of those kind of plus sides to working digitally. You can try something and see immediately if it works or not, and like edit it almost straight away then if it doesn't, or keep it if it does. And remember to try and get those nice balance of straights and curves in your designs. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't draw an open mouth with some kind of spit or something with it. So just a reminder to the folks who joined the stream a little later, not even a reminder, maybe news for you guys for the first time. But next week on Bennessy Draws will be a dark week. We'll be down. I'm not at home. I'm not in the country. So I won't be able to do the stream. And work has been so busy. I haven't had a chance to do a record, put something in its place. So we'll go dark. That's why I'm working on a cover tonight. Because usually I do a page, an interior page of the odds, and then I do a pin up the following week, and a cover is kind of somewhere between the two. And when I come back, I will finish this, so I'm still managing to do kind of something like a pin up and the cover, and still keep the odds train moving. Hey! But yes, we will be dark next week. It'll be the same for the odds pod of a Tuesday night. That'll be dark next week as well. And then we'll pick right back up the following week. So actually the same info for anyone buying things from the shop. I will be processing orders and I'll get things to a printer, but they won't be going out to the post office again until the following week. But things like merch, the hoodies, t-shirts, all that kind of stuff, that'll all continue as normal. I was gonna have the tongue come out over the teeth, but I don't think it looks right. And for something like this, you don't need to draw the like, you could take a little bit of an artistic license here because you want a big scary bear, so you don't necessarily need to draw his molars. You can have a big mouth of like real big fangs or something. Um, but I opted to go for this one. Um, but again, one of those things where you can take some artistic license as long as you can back up your choices. Again, always drawing from the shoulder for things like this energy that I'm trying to convey. So I don't really know what it's called, but it's kind of like a crown, kind of an extra bit of forehead almost on a bear. I'm sure it's got like a proper name. Um, but there's all these kind of certain kind of landmarks you'll figure out as you start drawing more and more animals, and that's kind of one of them for a bear for me. It's one of those things you can use to really describe a shape that differentiates a bear from, a cat or a lion when it's growling, or a dog, that kind of thing. Like if you're drawing, well, I guess it always depends on the species, but if you're drawing like a dog, you'd have quite a bit of a tighter rib cage, defined hips going into a dog's leg shape for its legs, whereas in a cat you kind of have the belly hang a little bit lower, and you can still kind of find your feminine or feline feminine, your feline shape or your canine shape. You find all these little things in the animal, so long as you go out and do the homework and kind of find out like how things actually look. Like I remember when like lots of students did the heavy weight lift, we had to use the character the Pink Panther, and like most people do, I think almost everyone seems to lift a big heavy bowling ball type thing with a Pink Panther at some point, and uh, without doing any kind of reference, we were asked to just try and get the Big Panther to walk over and pick up the ball and walk off with it. And we all picked up our pencils, sat up to our animation disc, and started to draw, and very much realized immediately we didn't know what we were supposed to draw. You don't know where someone stands over a heavy weight, you don't know where they put their hands, you don't know where their head, shoulders, all that kind of stuff go, and you immediately have to get up out of your chair and act it out, record yourself, that kind of stuff, and really find out how it works. And the same with referencing animals or people or cleavers or crossbows. You gotta go and find out how to draw the real thing, so you can do it some justice and draw it correctly. Over time, you'll develop that kind of mental library where you'll have done it so many times. You'll know how these things work, and that's something that will really only come with practice. It's not something you'll start off with. It's funny, years and years ago, I used to get these Tom and Jerry comic books, and I remember drawing them over and over and over on repeat. And I'm kind of finding that the one thing I still take from, I don't even know the artist's name, whoever drew it, but I kind of still draw ears like how I learned how to draw Jerry and Tom's ear. So it's funny the kind of stuff that'll stick with you. And as you go on to learn how to do these things properly, you'll find maybe a similar shape or a line that maybe some art you once liked use, and now you've discovered the same kind of line or shape, and it just becomes part of your DNA then. It's not something you kind of let go of. It's something you kind of have to make sure you don't overuse and rely on thoroughly. You don't want to be drawing the same kind of shape or head or ear, for example. But yeah, it is weird how some things really stick with you. Like, I used to get the Sonic the Comics when I was growing up, and I used to love Richard Elson's Sonic, and I would draw his Sonic over and over and over. And I still credit Richard Elson for helping me learn how to draw hands, because the way he draws Sonic's hands was like something I'd never really seen before. It wasn't just a kind of a Mickey Mouse shape, even though he's wearing these big gloves, and that's the kind of universe he was in, these kind of happy looking animals. He had this really dark, weighted feel to all his drawings, and I still love it. I still love his work. He's brilliant. Richard Elson. If you're not aware of him, check him out. And if you're not aware of Sonic the Comic, look at that up too. It's really good. Found a few of my old issues recently, and I had to give it a quick read. And God, it really sticks the landing. They're really good. Should really send a picture of that to Rory Coleman, friend of the Odds Pod. Great artist. Not aware of him, go check him out. He's brilliant. He's done tons of stuff. It all looks amazing. But he's a big Sonic the Comic Book fan too. He was actually on the Sonic the Comic podcast. So he really knows the stuff about it. Yeah, digging the bear. Really happy with shapes and stuff that I picked out on this guy. At these kind of corners of the lip, you can put a bit of shadow in there because it kind of hangs out of it. If you get me, um, just to make that kind of feel a bit more like it's not just sitting on a flat shape. It feels weighted. That there's depth to it. Throwing on things like shadows can be very beneficial. Again, something you only kind of get really when you're inking as opposed to penciling. So another area where you can score back some of that lovely energy you might have got from your pencils. I was going to have that black, but I don't think it'll work as well as just some color would. So I'm going to put I'm going to invert this chin basically and put the shadows in here instead. At this moment in time, I'm not worried about drawing through book. That's fine. I can erase those lines if I need. And because these lines are all inside the outer line, I'm gonna make sure all these lines are joined. There's no gaps in any of the lines. So what Vittorio needs to do is fills. It's not like going to be a big job for him. And it kind of strengthens my silhouette too. I'm also going to make sure that the lines inside don't need to do that, and I can add a bit more fluidity to the design and the lines. Trying to think of those things. I guess coming from animation, where you need your fills and the lines need to be joined or color goes everywhere. I'm just aware of the process behind it, and I honestly don't think you gain too much more from not drawing in your unbroken exterior lines. I have no idea what that was. I don't even know if you guys heard that. My iPad did something weird. I've drawn a good angry animal. This was fun. Okay, just going to draw in some of the directional bits of fur, just to really get the volume of how massive and big and weighted this bear feels before I start putting in my spot blacks on him. I don't want to overdo the fur here. I keep referring to a drawing by Sargent where he had his elephant, where his exterior line was broken. It didn't come together at the very top, and then at the very bottom of the elephant, a very heavy drawn, repeatedly cross-hatched lines, to make the elephant really look and feel heavy. And I'm going to go for something very similar here. I'm going to try something, but I think it's just better off to do this. So I'm not filling this in. It might look like I'm creating lines to do that. I'm not. I'm just trying to give myself enough information to find out where the bear starts and ends, and these guys start and end. And my buck is a really big brow, so I want to favor that outside line here in a big way. There we go. Okay, I'm going to turn off the pencils for a second. Open our layer and not just scribble and fill it in, but put my brush strokes in the direction of the bear's body, its fur, that kind of stuff. To really try and gain a bit more weighted feel to this big, heavy animal. Ooh, pressed the wrong button. Okay, let's fix the chin there for a second. Yeah, it got a bit messy. I'll have to do it last. I don't want to edit that line I've left in for myself there. Need that to stay pretty crisp. And bears kind of have this big kind of scarf, weighty, fleshy thing around their neck. It's a fun one to kind of play with their designs. You can really like add some extra hairy bits because of it. You can really make their necks squat and stretch with it. It's a fun part of their anatomy. You can really employ your designs for several benefits. It's really good. Again, something you kind of only get when you go out and do your research. And back when I was in college, I did a film with a polar bear and a penguin, and I had to do tons of reference for bears, and it was quite hard because there wasn't a bear in Dublin Zoo. There's plenty of penguins. Those Humboldt penguins, they're pretty cool, but hard to get enough bear reference. Okay, turn that down. Oh, we're nearly at the 2 hour mark. That was quick. Where's my lasso tool? It'll be much faster. I don't want my line of where Sean and Buck start to get a bit muddy. So unless there's like elements like here where I can have a line start here and finish that way, I don't want it to go into their line, or it's kind of a weird tangent. It'll take away some of the shape we have. Don't want that to happen. Okay. Turn back on the pencils again. We're going in the right direction. Do the same thing over here now with Buck and the cleaver. Again, directional lines. If I was working traditionally, I'd have had to put a piece of paper over each end just to make sure I can still get that feel, that texture, that weight, that energy. Just for now, drawing in these shapes. I can edit them later if I need to. Yeah, happy enough with that. Okay. Now directional brushstrokes. Again, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Good numbers. Really appreciate it. And just to reiterate, it is a usual thing I do every Wednesday, 21 at 9 o'clock GMT. It's 9 in the PM. And next week, since I started doing this, will be the first week I go dark. It won't happen next week. I'm out of the country and I have no way to manage the stream, and I was so busy I had no way to do a pre-record to go up instead of the live stream. That's kind of why I'm working on a cover tonight, because every other week I work on an interior page of the odds, and then the following week I work on a pinup. I kind of figured that working on a cover somewhere in the middle of both those things, and I can kind of appease the gap and still commit to getting my quota of the odds done. Quite happy with that. Oh, did I flatten that first? I did. I did not mean to flatten it first. Turn that down. And let's tidy it up a little bit here. I'll probably edit that hand shape when I come to finishing off book the next time I do the stream. So the rest of the characters aren't going to get this kind of energetic line that I just gave the bear. I think it'll really show up as to why it's such a good, obvious thing to, or why it's so obviously different when you're drawing out those kind of lines from the shoulder. I'll leave that there. Actually, there's no point in cleaning that up yet because I'll edit the line of book and bear together. Let's turn off that for a second and we can really see what we've done tonight. So this is where we're at. We will finish this the next day. And this was where we started. So you can see some of those little shapes I like to use in bears, that kind of stuff. In my pencils to how we got to here, to how we got to here. Let's do that one again. There we go. Yeah, that's an angry bear. I like it. Maybe it's a cocaine bear. I don't know. I don't know what that bear's been up to. He has been up to good stuff though. So yeah, there we go. We will finish this the next time. This is going to be the cover of issue 1 of the odds. As long as Dave likes it too. He's co-creator. He gets to say in this kind of stuff as much as I got to say in some of the story. And all the story. Yeah, there we go. The odds issue 1. So again, we're dark next week. We're back again the following week. I'll finish this. And there's plenty of stuff up on the Bennessy store. In the meantime, you can go there and you can get the prints, comics. You can book commissions on the website. they'll all take a little bit of a hit next week. I won't be posting anything next week, and I won't be booking commissions next week. You know what? I'll probably still book commissions next week if that's something that people want to do. But the one thing that'll definitely hold up that won't change from the Bennessy store is the Bennessy merch option on the shop. The hoodies, the t-shirts, all that stuff, that'll remain as normal. You can get that and it'll arrive as it normally would do. It's just the things that I have to get to the post office or draw myself will be put back away about a week. But there we go. We got some Angry Bear. Got to talk about layout, cover design. We got to talk about the art itself. And yeah, I really like where this is going. It's going to be hard to wait to finish this on the stream, but I will try. If I don't, I will pre-record and have that at hand. But I have to get to it very soon. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in today. Great numbers, really appreciate it. If there's anything at all, you can catch me on the comment section. I think it will replay on Twitter. It'll definitely be there on YouTube right after the stream, and it'll be on Twitch right after the stream as well. And I think I can still see the comments on those things later on or post stream. So thanks to everyone who's been reaching out and talking and asking questions and inviting me on their shows and asking for characters. It's all brilliant. If you guys have a character you'd like to see me draw on one of the pinup nights, get in touch on one of the socials. I'm Bennessy on pretty much everything. That's it for now. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks again. Chat to you then.